Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. Today we're diving into the story of one of America's most fascinating and collectible coins, the Jefferson Nickel from the year 2005. At first glance, this 5-cent piece might look like just another coin in your pocket, but when we dig a little deeper, we uncover history, symbolism, artistry, and even the possibility of life-changing value. So grab your coins and get ready, because the 2005 Jefferson Nickel has more secrets than you might think, and by the end of this video you'll find out just how much one of these rare coins could actually be worth. The Jefferson Nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and over the decades it has gone through several design updates. But in 2005, something truly special happened. This was the year of the Westward Journey series, a redesign introduced to celebrate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. The U.S. Mint decided to issue new designs for the nickel, both on the obverse and the reverse, making the 2005 edition stand out among the long line of Jefferson Nickels. Collectors immediately noticed the difference, and even today these coins are highly sought after because they represent a historic moment in American coin design. On the obverse of the 2005 nickel, instead of the traditional full left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson that had been in use for decades, the Mint introduced a more dramatic and bold portrait. This new design presented Jefferson facing forward in a partial profile, giving the coin a fresh and modern appearance while still paying tribute to America's third president. The inscription, "In God We Trust," was placed prominently along the side of the portrait, while "Liberty" appeared in Jefferson's own handwriting style, adding a personal and historical touch that connects us to the founding father himself. But the reverse of the coin is where things get even more exciting. In 2005, two different reverse designs were released. One featured the American bison, often called the Buffalo design, which was a nod to the original Buffalo nickel from decades earlier and a tribute to the wildlife encountered during the Lewis and Clark expedition. The other design was the Ocean in View theme, showcasing a breathtaking coastal scene with the words "Ocean in View." Oh, the joy! A direct quote from William Clark's journal entry upon reaching the Pacific Ocean. These designs captured the adventurous spirit of America's exploration and expansion, making them instantly memorable and unique within U.S. coinage history. Now, what makes the 2005 Jefferson Nickel particularly fascinating is not just its design, but also the variations, mint marks, and conditions that can drastically change its value. Coins minted in Philadelphia carry the P mint mark, while those from Denver display the D, and there are also proof versions struck in San Francisco marked with an S. Proof coins, with their mirror-like finishes, are often struck in smaller numbers and intended for collectors, which adds to their rarity and appeal. When it comes to value, condition is everything. Most 2005 nickels you'll find in circulation are worth only face value, 5 cents, because they've been used, scratched, and worn over time. But when a coin has been carefully preserved, kept in pristine uncirculated condition, or graded by professional services as mint state or even higher, its value skyrockets. Collectors pay top dollar for coins that still shine as if they just came from the mint, with sharp details, no blemishes, and strong strikes. Adding even more to the excitement are the error coins. In 2005, several Jefferson Nickels were struck with slight mistakes that turned ordinary coins into rare collectibles. These errors could include double dies, off-center strikes, or even missing design elements. Error coins are incredibly popular with collectors because they're one-of-a-kind accidents of the minting process. A single unusual flaw can transform a coin into a treasure worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine finding a coin in your change that was worth more than a brand new car. That's the thrill of error hunting. Collectors also prize coins with strong eye appeal, meaning not just technical condition but also how attractive the coin looks overall. Luster, toning, and strike sharpness all play a role. A beautifully toned 2005 nickel with rainbow colors can attract bids well above normal prices at auction simply because of its unique appearance. This blend of artistry, history, and rarity is what keeps the coin collecting hobby alive and exciting. And now we arrive at the part you've been waiting for, the potential value of the 2005 Jefferson Nickel. While most examples will only be worth face value, an extraordinary piece in the highest grades, preserved perfectly and possibly featuring a rare error, has been known to sell for an incredible $36,000. Yes, you heard that right, $36,000 for a single Jefferson nickel from 2005. That's the magic of coin collecting. Something you might overlook as ordinary pocket change could turn out to be a hidden treasure worth more than you ever imagined. So the next time you get change at the store, don't just toss those nickels aside. Take a moment to look closely, you might just be holding a fortune in your hands. Today we're going to talk about one of the most underrated yet fascinating coins in American history, the Jefferson Nickel from 1975. At first glance, this little 5-cent piece might not look like anything more than pocket change, but the truth is that coins like this carry stories, history, and in some cases, incredible value. By the time we reach the end of this video, you'll be amazed to learn just how much a 1975 Jefferson nickel can be worth if you happen to have the right one. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American coinage since 1938, designed by Felix Schlag to replace the beloved Buffalo nickel. His winning design featured the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, paired with a depiction of his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1975, the design had already been in circulation for nearly 4 decades, but the coin still held a very special place in U.S. currency. It was one of the most widely used coins in daily life, moving through countless hands, vending machines, and cash registers. Because of that heavy use, finding a 1975 Jefferson nickel in pristine, untouched condition today is a lot more difficult than many people realize. The year 1975 itself was an interesting time in American history. The country was adjusting to major economic changes, with inflation on the rise, and coins like the nickel were playing a crucial role in everyday commerce. Yet behind the scenes, the mint was already preparing for upcoming changes, including the nation's bicentennial coinage in 1976. That meant that coins from 1975, though common in number, were minted during a transitional era that makes them a fascinating snapshot of American life at the time. Looking closely at the design, you'll see Jefferson's profile facing left, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1975 surrounding the portrait. The detail on his hair, the sharpness of the lettering, and the clarity of the date can all make a big difference in a coin's collectability. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the iconic Monticello design. Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia, is beautifully represented, with the words E pluribus unum above and Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America below. What truly makes a 1975 Jefferson nickel stand out to collectors is its condition and mint mark. Coins struck in Philadelphia have no mint mark, while those from Denver bear a small D on the obverse next to the date, and San Francisco issued proof coins marked with an S. Proof nickels from this year, struck with special dies and polished blanks, have a mirror-like shine that sets them apart and makes them highly collectible. Of course, most nickels you'll come across from 1975 will be worn, with scratches, dings, and signs of circulation. Those coins are worth face value, only 5 cents. But the rare survivors, coins that were never spent, kept safe in rolls, or carefully preserved in pristine condition, are the ones collectors are after. When a 1975 Jefferson nickel is graded by professional services as mint state or even higher, the value increases dramatically. Coins that still show sharp detail in Jefferson's hair and Monticello's columns, along with full steps at the base of Monticello, are particularly desirable. Collectors often pay much more for coins that have what is known as full steps, because they prove that the coin was struck with great precision and is free of heavy wear. And then, we come to one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting: errors. The 1975 Jefferson nickel is known to have several varieties of errors that can make a coin extremely valuable. Off-center strikes, double die obverse or reverses, die cracks, and misaligned mint marks are just some of the types of errors that make collectors' hearts race. These mistakes during the minting process are like little accidents that transform an ordinary coin into something unique. Because error coins are one of a kind, their value in the marketplace can far exceed even the most pristine standard strikes. Another factor that adds to the appeal of the 1975 nickel is toning. Over the years, coins stored in certain conditions can develop colorful hues, from shades of gold and purple to vibrant blues and reds. This natural toning can make a coin incredibly attractive and desirable to collectors who appreciate its beauty beyond just the technical details. A well-toned 1975 Jefferson nickel can fetch significantly higher prices because of its eye appeal. So, how much is a 1975 Jefferson nickel really worth? The answer depends entirely on its condition, rarity, and whether it has unique features or errors. While most are worth only a nickel, a truly exceptional example, a coin preserved in the highest grades, possibly with full steps or a rare error, can command astonishing sums in the collector's market. Some of these coins have been sold at auction for as much as $47,000, yes, you heard that right, $47,000 for a coin most people wouldn't think twice about spending on a pack of gum. That's the magic of coin collecting. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes, hidden among the ordinary, there's a treasure waiting to be discovered. So next time you go through your change jar or inherit an old collection, pay close attention to those Jefferson Nickels. You never know when you might be holding a small fortune in your hand. Today, we're turning our attention to a coin that might look like ordinary pocket change, but in reality, it holds a world of history and potential value, the United States Jefferson nickel from the year 1991. At first glance, this 5-cent coin doesn't appear to be rare or extraordinary, but when we start exploring its background, design, and collector demand, it becomes clear why some examples are worth far more than their face value. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll hear about one special Jefferson nickel from 1991 that sold for a price so high, it could truly change the way you look at coins forever. The Jefferson nickel first entered circulation in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it showcased a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, America's third president, on the front, and his grand home Monticello on the back. Over the decades, this design became one of the most familiar in American coinage, circulating through millions of hands, vending machines, and bank tills. By the year 1991, Schlag's design had already seen over 50 years of use, making the 1991 Jefferson nickel part of a long and proud tradition in U.S. currency. Let's take a closer look at this coin's design. On the obverse, Jefferson faces left, with the words, "In God We Trust," to the left side of the portrait, Liberty, and the year 1991 to the right. The details of Jefferson's face, hair, and coat are critical when it comes to grading the condition of these coins. On the reverse, the stately Monticello sits at the center, framed by E pluribus unum on the top and the words Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America below. Collectors pay close attention to the sharpness of the details, especially the steps on Monticello. Nickels that clearly display full steps are particularly valuable, as they prove the coin was struck with precision and has survived without the heavy wear that erases fine detail. Now, 1991 was an interesting year in coin production. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with a small p, and the Denver Mint, marked with a d, produced the bulk of nickels for circulation. Additionally, proof versions were struck at the San Francisco Mint, bearing the S Mint mark. Proof coins, with their mirror-like finish and crisp details, were never intended for circulation, but for collectors who ordered them directly from the mint. As a result, proof nickels from 1991 can be much scarcer than their circulation counterparts, and when kept in pristine condition, they are highly desirable. Condition is everything when it comes to value. A 1991 nickel that has been circulating for decades, picked up scratches, nicks, and wear, will likely only ever be worth 5 cents. But when you find a coin that has never been spent, one that has been carefully preserved in mint state, its value increases dramatically. The grading scale, used by professionals, ranges from circulated grades all the way up to mint state 70, and coins graded in the higher levels, particularly with full steps on Monticello, are the ones that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. Error coins are another major factor in the world of coin collecting, and the 1991 Jefferson nickel has its share of them. Minting mistakes such as double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or misaligned designs create unique variations that collectors chase eagerly. These errors are rare by nature, and when they do appear, they can elevate a coin's value tremendously. A simple nickel with an unusual minting flaw instantly transforms from common pocket change into a treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Another feature that excites collectors is natural toning. When coins are stored under certain conditions, the metal can develop colorful shades of blue, purple, orange, or gold. These rainbow-like tones are caused by chemical reactions over time, and while they don't appear on every coin, when they do, they can make an otherwise ordinary nickel highly desirable. A 1991 Jefferson nickel with attractive toning can command impressive prices at auction, simply because it stands out from the rest. When you combine condition, rarity, mint errors, and visual appeal, that's when the real magic happens. While the majority of 1991 nickels remain common, there are rare examples that have shocked collectors with their value. Some of the finest graded coins, preserved in immaculate condition, with full steps and perfect details, have sold for record prices. And yes, one particular Jefferson nickel from 1991 has been auctioned off for an incredible $39,700. That's right, $39,700 for a coin most people would pass over without a second thought. It's stories like this that make coin collecting such an exciting adventure. Every coin in your pocket change has the potential to be more than it seems, and hidden among the ordinary, there just might be a life-changing treasure. So the next time you find a 1991 Jefferson nickel, don't dismiss it too quickly. Check the details, look for mint marks, pay attention to its condition, and who knows, you could be holding a rare piece of American history worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're going to uncover the fascinating story of one of the most collected and talked about nickels in United States history, the Jefferson nickel from the year 1964. This coin might look like nothing more than ordinary change, but behind its familiar design lies a story of history, rarity, and surprising value that has captured the attention of collectors for decades. By the end of this video, you'll see why the 1964 Jefferson nickel stands apart and how one coin from this year reached a price so high that it could leave you speechless. The Jefferson nickel was first minted in 1938, designed by artist Felix Schlag, and it replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel. Schlag's design featured a left-facing portrait of America's third president, Thomas Jefferson, on the front, paired with an elegant rendering of his Virginia home, Monticello, on the back. This design became a classic, and the 1964 version carries that same familiar look. But what makes the 1964 Jefferson nickel unique is not just its design, it's the historical context and the sheer number of coins produced in that year. The year 1964 was a major turning point for U.S. coinage. America was experiencing a serious coin shortage, with nickels, dimes, and quarters disappearing from circulation as people began hoarding coins in anticipation of changes to silver content in other denominations. To meet the demand, the U.S. Mint struck an astonishing number of Jefferson nickels in 1964, producing over 2.5 billion coins between the Philadelphia and Denver mints combined. That's right, billions of nickels rolled off the presses, making it the highest mintage year in the history of the series. With such massive numbers produced, you might think the 1964 nickel is too common to be valuable. And in most cases, that's true. Circulated examples you find in pocket change are generally only worth face value. But what collectors know is that within that huge mintage are rare varieties, errors, and coins in extraordinary condition that are highly desirable and command impressive prices. Looking closely at the design, Jefferson's profile on the obverse is surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with the year 1964 clearly displayed. On the reverse, Monticello is depicted with great detail, with the words "E pluribus unum" above and "United States of America" and 5 cents below. Collectors pay very close attention to the steps on Monticello. Nickels that show complete, sharp, full steps are rare and significantly more valuable than those with weaker strikes. A 1964 nickel with crisp, full steps is often the key to unlocking a much higher value. Another factor that makes the 1964 nickel exciting to collectors is the presence of errors and varieties. During this year of massive production, mistakes happened. Some coins show double dies, where parts of the design appear doubled. Others have off-center strikes, die cracks, or even unusual planchet flaws. These errors transform ordinary coins into unique collectibles. Collectors love error coins because no two are ever exactly the same, making each one a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. Mint marks are also important. In 1964, coins were produced in both Philadelphia, which carried no mint mark, and Denver, which carried a small d. Interestingly, 1964 was the last year that mint marks appeared on nickels until 1968, as the mint temporarily removed them in response to coin hoarding. That historical detail gives the 1964 nickel an added layer of significance. Condition, as always, plays a critical role in determining value. Circulated coins that have been through decades of wear are common and worth only a nickel. But coins that were never spent, carefully preserved in rolls or mint sets, can command higher values, especially when they receive high grades from professional grading services. A mint state coin with brilliant luster, sharp details, and full steps can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And then there are the legendary sales, coins that have stunned collectors at auction. When a 1964 Jefferson nickel appears in near-perfect condition with exceptional strike quality, or combined with a rare mint error, it can attract intense bidding wars. These are the coins that break records and make headlines in the collecting community. So what is the true potential of the 1964 Jefferson nickel? While most examples are worth just 5 cents, the finest of the fine, the rare survivors that combine immaculate preservation, flawless strikes, and extraordinary rarity, can be worth an astonishing $69,600. Yes, you heard that correctly, $69,600 for a single nickel. That's the incredible magic of coin collecting. Hidden in the ordinary, there are treasures waiting to be discovered, and sometimes the coins we overlook are the ones that can change everything. So the next time you go through an old jar of coins, check the date carefully. If you see 1964, take a closer look. You just might be holding onto a small piece of American history worth far more than you could imagine. Today we are going to explore one of those fascinating coins from the United States of America, the 1974 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it may look just like any other 5-cent piece, but when you look closer, you'll realize there's so much more to it than meets the eye. The Jefferson Nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has remained a cornerstone of American pocket change ever since. Designed by Felix Schlag, the obverse features a profile of the nation's third president, Thomas Jefferson, while the reverse originally showcased Jefferson's home, Monticello. By 1974, the design was well established, yet each year brought small differences, minting quirks, and errors that would turn certain nickels into treasures worth searching for. The year 1974 itself was a unique time in American history. The nation was in the middle of political turmoil with the Watergate scandal, and economically, inflation was on the rise. Coins like the nickel were still being struck in massive numbers, with the Denver and Philadelphia mints producing millions. But in such large production runs, mistakes were bound to happen, and those mistakes are exactly what make collectors' hearts race today. What should you look for in a 1974 Jefferson nickel? First, pay attention to the mint mark. Coins from Philadelphia that year came without a mint mark, while the Denver mint pieces proudly bear the D. Though both can be collectible, certain rare die errors, weak strikes, or unusual features can turn an average coin into one that collectors are willing to pay thousands for. A full step example, where the steps of Monticello on the reverse are sharply struck and fully visible, is especially valuable. These full step nickels are extremely tough to find from 1974, since most coins from that year were struck with worn dies, which blurred the details. If you find a coin with strong, crisp steps, you might just be holding a jackpot in your pocket, but errors don't stop there. Some 1974 nickels are known to have die cracks, off-center strikes, or doubled dies where parts of the design appear doubled under magnification. Imagine looking at Jefferson's portrait and seeing a faint shadow line doubling his features, or inspecting the Monticello and finding extra outlines where there should only be one. Those are the kind of details collectors hunt for, and they're what make ordinary pocket change transform into coins of great worth. Condition is another major factor. A circulated 1974 nickel that has passed through countless hands may not fetch much more than its face value, but one that has been preserved in pristine condition is a different story. Coins graded at the top of the scale, with their original luster and sharp details intact, are the ones that break records at auctions. Collectors and investors are always chasing that perfect example that represents not just a coin, but a piece of American history frozen in time. The Jefferson Nickel may be a humble 5-cent coin, but the stories tied to it are anything but ordinary. From the artistry of Felix Schlag's original design to the quirks of minting errors, every coin tells its own story. The 1974 issue in particular stands out because high-grade specimens with full steps are among the toughest to acquire, and when one surfaces at an auction, it sparks excitement across the numismatic community. It's amazing to think that something so small, something you might casually spend on a piece of candy or a soda decades ago, could actually be worth a fortune today. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know when history and rarity will come together in the palm of your hand. And now, for the part everyone loves to hear. While most 1974 Jefferson Nickels are only worth a modest premium, the rarest and finest examples can command staggering sums. In fact, one extraordinary coin from this year reached an incredible value of $54,300.